What's up, y'all? This is King Jewelz of the Smart Financial Jewelz podcast, and we welcome you to our second season of Smart Financial Jewelz podcast. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Welcome to the Smart Financial Jewelz podcast. We are diving in this season with a lot of financial jewels of wisdom. And so shout out to all of our listeners who have been listening from our first season until now. But if this is your first time joining us, the Smart Financial Jewelz podcast was created to share wisdom on financial education and budget tips to help singles and married couples break cycles of living paycheck to paycheck so they can begin a new legacy of financial freedom. And so shout out to all of our financial jewels and our fire jewels who are seekers of financial freedom and also getting the financial jewels as we get ready to go into this new year. We have a lot in store this season, you all. Hopefully you've been enjoying our episodes thus far, but we are going to go down memory lane to see how much we've accomplished only in one season so far this year, you all. This is only our second season of the SFJ podcast. We are only one of 4 podcasts under the Smart Jewelz Network, which we house the Midnight Prayer Watch podcast, the Run the Jewels podcast, and also the Smart Travel Jewels podcast, along with where you are listening and watching today, now the Smart Financial Jewels podcast. And so shout out to Spotify for all of the creators that use Spotify for Creators. They do a great job in capturing the data and the analytics of each podcaster or content creator or even entertainer or artist, musician that houses their work, their music, their podcast, their audiobooks on Spotify, and they narrow it down at the end of each year to a platform in Spotify for creators that is called Wrapped. And so we're going to be going through our data today with you all to show how much it's important to go over your data and your budget specifically as a financial jewel, to know how far you have come and also to see if you are staying on point with your budget, specifically with your finances, with equipment, your finances with marketing, your finances with your overhead cost, and even the platform that we are using today, which is our official VIP partner today for the Smart Financial Jewelz podcast. Shout out to StreamYard, which we are using right now. You can definitely tap in by clicking the link that's in our show notes to use StreamYard, the platform that we are streaming from today, and get $10 off whenever you join as a member of one of their discounted pricing or packages that they offer. They are offering a lot of holiday discount deals for those who are interested in streaming on multiple platforms like Instagram, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, of course, YouTube, LinkedIn even. You definitely will be in for a treat if you are a StreamYard subscriber and a StreamYard user. So we love StreamYard, and so we recommend that you also connect with StreamYard to make your show or your podcast or even any content that you're creating go to the next level, you all. So big up to StreamYard, who is our VIP partner and also our VIP sponsor for today. Shout out to StreamYard. And so without further ado, we're about to get ready to dive into our data for today's episode as we go through the podcast Spotify Wrapped for Creators analytics for this year. And so let's go ahead and get it started, y'all. Let's go ahead and get it. So again, in just staying in focus with the importance of going through data, you all, it's very important to track your finances at least 4 times minimum throughout the year. And that's at minimum we highly recommend having a monthly budget meeting with yourself or even your spouse, your significant other, or even an accountability partner to make sure that you're staying on pace and on par for any of your financial goals that you set out for the year. And so we're going to dive into this content so you can see with our podcast in a short amount of time how far we have gone in being able to move the needle with our personal goals for the Financial Jewels podcast, Smart Financial Jewels podcast. And so we set out to get to 150 episodes for each podcast that we house under the Smart Jewels Network. Right now, I believe the Smart Financial Jewels podcast is still right around 14 episodes. We have 15 after today's episode that we're launching. And so each episode, we do have to record. We have to have our editing team edit the content. And then we also have to market the content on different social media platforms, on YouTube, and even on any blogs or any other locations that podcasts are listened to or even observed for those listeners and audience members who are watching or listening out there. And so that means that you have to know where your audience is. And so 2025, as you can see on the screen, was quite a year for us with the Smart Financial Jewels podcast. As you can see, a little proof that your hard work and dedication of what we put in has paid off. And so we want to see the fruit of our labor, not just think that we did a great job, but to know that we did a great job for the Smart Financial Jewels production, and also just being able to stay consistent throughout season 1, which we did start earlier this year. So our total audience was up 339%, you all. We were able to increase our audience of 339% in just 1 year. We did start the podcast just at the beginning of this year. So you can go and listen to any of our recent season 1 episodes, but this shows tremendous progress, and also we're going upward instead of downward with our audience. So shout out to our audience members like you all who have been a part of that. But we did tap into a new audience. And so as a content creator, a podcaster, or even if you are a coach or consultant or business owner, you always want to look for new and creative ways to build a new audience. What we do with our podcasts, we travel. So many times myself and our team, we go to different countries to travel for leisure, but we also write the trip off as business expenses by doing interviews with locals in each country, by going to certain workshops, conferences, or events that are taking place in different countries. And thus far, we've been located in Asia and Africa, specifically in different countries throughout the last year, operating as digital nomads. And so whenever we are able to go to a new country and meet people, we are our biggest billboard. We are the biggest marketing tool, which is our face, which is our tagline, which is our way to promote ourselves. We are the biggest marketing tool for your business or for any content that you are creating or that you are seeking to create. And so what we do is share our podcast, share our network that we are doing for our business, which is under Smart Jewels Enterprises, through our Smart Jewels Network podcast and shows that we host. So each show, like Smart Financial Jewels, is centered around different themes and different topics that you have to list as a category when you are doing a podcast. Our podcast for Smart Financial Jewels is listed under business and investing, because we do talk about a lot of investing in yourself as a content creator, and also investing in your business as an entrepreneur. And so when it comes to your finances, this is the biggest investment that you will put in your marketing, is how are you able to cut cost in certain areas of your operational cost or your framework, or even your equipment that you are using in order to put more income into your marketing budget. So in order to cut costs with that, this is a smart financial jewel. You are able to have a QR code that you can have people scan on their phone to go directly to a landing page or go directly to a Linktree page. We use flow code as our Linktree page that we house all of our information of websites, offerings of digital products, courses, our institute, Smart Jewelz Institute, that we offer personal development, financial, and health and wellness courses and content under. But we literally use QR codes in order to get people actively knowing about what we are doing for the Smart Jewelz Network and also Smart Jewelz Enterprises. And Smart Financial Jewels, which is your potential show that you could be hosting, is an excellent way to let people know what you are doing and why they should not follow you, but why they should build with you, why they should connect with you. And so we were able to share quite a bit with any travelers, digital nomads, or even entrepreneurs that we interviewed in the last year, our content, our services that we provide, our visibility with our business, our mission, our vision. And so we always put our stake in the ground. I'm sorry. We always put our stake in the ground with knowing that we are needing to plant our flag wherever we go to let people know that we were here. And so what are you leaving behind? What footprints are you going to leave behind in 2026? And what breadcrumbs are you going to leave behind so other people can follow you, but also they can support your mission? So what is your mission? That's something to just think about. What is your mission? What are you good at? What is your calling card? What are your gifts? What are your talents? If you don't know what that is, then you will never be able to have a vision for yourself. And so you need to get serious in this upcoming year about having a mission. For those who believe in the Most High Yah, as we call him, for those who are believers over here, Yahuwah to be exact, you must seek after the Creator, the Most High Yah, El Shaddai, the Almighty, Elohim, the Creator, to find what you are called to do. If it is left up to us, a lot of times we will just be going with the flow of wherever the wind takes us, or wherever people are telling us the ground is hot, or this is the area we should go into. But how much time have you, myself, and many of us wasted by not going in the right direction that we should have been going in the first place? And so in order to alleviate that, when you are talking to new nationalities, new ethnicities, which is why we love to travel, you have to have a direct mission and also a direct vision, which is your sales pitch, to let people know who and what you stand for. What I stand for, King Jewelz, with the Smart Financial Jewels podcast, and also as the founder of the Smart Jewelz Network and Smart Jewelz Enterprises, and also the co-founder of the Smart Jewelz Network, I forgot to mention, we are a lifestyle brand that is an educational lifestyle brand that shows people why they should concentrate on personal development, financial education, and health and wellness, so that they can transform their lives to shine bright like the bright diamond jewel that they were created to be. And so that starts with your personal development, that starts with your financial education, and most importantly, it starts with keeping your health and wellness at an optimum level in order to shine. Because we all, for the Smart Jewelz Network, all of our hosts and our content creators and even business owners, we are wanting to shine globally. So our vision is not domestic in the USA, where I grew up at and where quite a few of our show hosts and show producers grew up in. It is global. It is Asia. It is Africa. It is South America. It's Central America. it's Europe, and then eventually Australia and Antarctica. But we are looking to go specifically global with transforming entrepreneurs and also content creators who are looking to shine bright like the bright diamond jewel they've been created to be. And so, with that tagline, with that mission, with that vision, our target audience, entrepreneurs and content creators, our mission to help develop others in personal development, financial education, and health and wellness so that their lifestyle is able to transform so they can shine bright like the bright diamond jewel they've been created to be. And where are we going to do that? Globally, specifically in Asia and Africa right now, where we're located at. But we increased our audience, long story short, 999% within the last year. So we're almost literally at 1,000, you all, that we were able to increase our audience. Some of that came from marketing, direct marketing, social media marketing. Others came from ads or different boosts that we were able to work with our team to boost our outreach in different regions, which you'll see where specifically we located our marketing push towards. But that's a significant amount of new audience listeners that we were able to attain this year. And so for podcasts, similar to social media, you do want people to follow your podcast or subscribe to your podcast and to like and leave a comment on your podcast. And so with that being said, just as we have to do for this podcast, if you are not tapped in with us, like and subscribe to our podcast and leave a comment, leave a question. We appreciate all of those who have already been leaving questions for our first season for SFJ throughout this year. But subscribe to us so you can always see when new episodes are dropping. We also do for Apple users, for those who have an iPhone or iMac or a MacBook, we do have a Smart Jewelz Network channel that is on Apple Podcasts on the app. So if you just type in Smart SMART JEWELZ Network, that's Smart Jewelz Network on your Apple Podcast application, you'll be able to see all of our podcasts in one place that we house under the umbrella of the SJN network. And so we were able to, with the new audience, of course, 999%, we increased with the followers of the podcast. And so that's not something to just glaze over. That's not something to just say it's by happenstance. You have to know that that's from a lot of hard work, dedication, and also a lot of planning that we were able to put in. And so I got to give us a round of applause for that, y'all. To give us a round of applause for that, because we were able to see through the vision that we originally tended to do at the beginning of this year, which was to teach individuals how to get out of debt that are singles and couples so they can be financially free so that they can travel the world. And so this lets me know that we're headed in the right direction with myself and our team of the Smart Financial Jewelz podcast. And then continuing, we were able to increase in total listening time from last year, 332%, based off of the new followers that we had, based off of the new listeners that we had. Of course, the numbers are going up, which is what you want your podcast or your YouTube channel or your content to go up with the viewers and also the listeners. So 332%, and which is not a small amount, you all. And then they give us, for one of our episodes that stood out throughout the whole entire year of season 1 above the rest. It was a very important episode to me because this was one of the first 3 episodes of season 1. It was how I started my content creator and podcast journey in personal finance. And I believe this was the interview that I did with my cousin And also, he's a fellow podcaster, real estate investor, and entrepreneur that is out of Oakland, California, where I was born at, but I was raised in Atlanta. And he invited me onto his podcast literally years ago. And I was able to share my journey of what I was able to learn from taking a course by the name of Financial Peace University. Shout out to Dave Ramsey and the Ramsey Network, that taught me the baby steps, 7 baby steps, how to get out of debt quickly, efficiently, and also effectively, so that I can live and give, as Dave says, like no one else. And so this started my journey into being able to be financially debt free, and also being able to travel the world as a content creator, speaker, and even a coach. So this was the top episode for this last season, 91%. It was played 91% more than any of the other episodes. So check out that episode if you have not already, to see as a good place of how we got started with this personal financial freedom journey. And so as we continue moving along the storyline, we have listeners that have passports. That means that they're global again. So our listeners are not just in the US, they're not just in Canada, they're not just in Central America, they're all over the world. And so let's see where some of our listeners are located at. The top 4 countries where we had the biggest reach at for this season were Greece, South Africa, Poland, and US. So that's United States of America, Poland in Europe, South Africa, which of course is in the motherland, big up to Mother Africa, and then Greece, which is also in Europe. So we're not just local, you all. We're not just having listeners track with us in one geographical location. And so where are your listeners coming from? Do you even know your analytics? Do you know your impressions that you are making for your social media account, for either Facebook, for YouTube, for Instagram, for TikTok, for Kick if you're a streamer, for Twitch if you're a streamer too, for Snapchat even. We do have some Snapchat Gen Z listeners out there still, or some of the millennials that are listening out there, or the alpha generation. But do you know where your top listeners, top followers, where are they geographically located at? If you do not know that, I highly recommend, as a smart financial jewel, that you comb through your analytics, no matter what your platform of choice is, because you need to know and pinpoint where are your biggest supporters, your biggest followers and listeners, where are they located at? So just in looking at this data, this tells me that a lot of our audience is still built around the Western world, which is US and Europe to be exact, because we have 2 locations in Europe. And then of course the US is one continent in itself. So that is where a lot of our audience members are listening from, because we speak English. So if we were able to tap into a bilingual audience of speaking Spanish, or speaking Swahili, or speaking Japanese or Korean, then of course the evidence of the countries that listen to us the most would look much different than this. But based off of my number one native language being English, a lot of my listeners and our listeners, including you all who are listening, will come from the Western world, or the Western hemisphere. So shout out to South Africa, Greece, Poland, and also the US, you all. And then let's keep it rolling. Some of our top fans made it to the fans list. And so we did have 15 fans where we were rated for Smart Financial Jewels as a top 10 show under their listener analytics. So shout out to our 15 fans. Again, we're just getting started. So it's going to be a slow burn, but it's going to be a slow and steady burn. So do you even have fans that are listing you as their top 5 or top 10 shows or top 5 or top 10 channels. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you don't, that's why it's important to look through the data and the analytics, just like in looking through a budget. You have to know your numbers, you all. We're also a top 5 show for 13 fans. And so, again, we were a top 10 show for 15 fans, and now we're a top 5 show for 13 of those 15 fans. So that's progress, you all. We still have more than 10 people that watch us more than their regular shows. And then we're 11 fans. We have 11 fans that we're the number 1 show for. So we're the number 1 show for 11 fans. So shout out to those 11 fans that are listening, or those who are going to watch the video recap of today's episode. But we appreciate you all. We could not have been able to make this podcast and this show a success without you. So big up to our 11, solid 11 smart jewels and financial jewels that have been rocking with us since season 1. We really appreciate you. And then just going through the final data here, our top fans streamed at least 2.6 times more than everyone else. And we also had 30% of those fans and followers, they binged at least 2 episodes in one day. We love keeping our episodes for SFJ short. So it's literally less than 20 minutes that you will be able to take part in throughout your day in order to consume our content and our financial jewels and fire jewels and freedom jewels of wisdom that we drop each and every episode for our season. And so you have to think marketable, you all. Who is really going to be sitting up listening to podcasts for 2 and 3 hours if you're not entertaining, if you have no charisma, if you're not a sought after personality, if you have no personality that you're showing, in order just to listen to you? What makes you unique? What is your unique selling point, your USP for your podcast? What is your unique selling point or unique proposition that you are selling for others to listen to you and want to listen to you? Think about that. Just as a business owner or a content creator, you should be looking at how much are people consuming you? How much are people following or watching you? So therefore, you have to know the numbers again. So when it comes to the final leg of this presentation from Spotify, it goes without saying that our fans have great taste. And so this lets me know and lets us know with our team, who are our fans and our followers of SFJ listening to. The top artists that a lot of our fans listen to on Spotify are Bryson Tiller. Shout out to Bryson, Evan, and Eris. We definitely love Evan and Eris, who is a Christian duo group based out of the U.S. Michael Jackson. Shout out to MJ, the king of pop. And Kanye. Shout out to Ye, Kanye West. They also listen to, and CeCe Winans. And so just in looking at this data right here, I could probably bank on a lot of our listeners happen to either be African American, or definitely they are a part of the culture, which means that they are Black. They are Black, African, African American. They could be in a lot of the artists that our listeners are listening to. Kanye is more hip hop or pop, even. Michael Jackson, who is more pop. Evan and Eris, which is a Christian artist, again, a duo. And CeCe Winans is also Christian or contemporary even. And then Bryson Tiller is more R&B and slash pop. So we have most of the audience that we are having support us are more pop culture listeners. So that means that we should be targeting more content that is centered around current events that are taking place within pop culture, in order to break down the financials and the financial wisdom of what do people want to listen to in the next year that also affects who their favorite artists are, what issues their favorite artists may be going through with their finances or their their credibility when it comes to their deals that they have for their fans follow them, or even talking about contracts, which we do plan on talking more about, is how to sign business contracts or any audience clients that you break down what are the do's and don'ts, the ins and outs of signing contracts. And so that is new episodes brewing just from looking at this data that you see on the screen today. Also audiobooks, which is what we listen to a lot too, but our listeners do also. They listen to Radio, which is by Victoria Aveyard, which is a popular audiobook. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I've read the book and definitely think that that's a top book for any entrepreneur or speaker to use specifically. The Let Them Theory in 10 Minutes. So the Let Them Theory in 10 Minutes, which is by M. Casanova, is also a very popular audiobook from our fans and listeners. And then for the shows that are podcasts or shows on Spotify that our listeners listen to the most, number one is Be Better Every Day. I listen to some of these podcasts so I can have myself and our team get some ideas on what makes these podcasts and their production and even their host more appealing to our listeners. So I just recently listened to that this past week and was taking notes on some of the things that this show and this podcast does well. So that's something I recommend for you too, to listen to your competitors, listen to your competition, and to take notes and take the meat and spit out the bones so that you can revamp and also reignite your production, your quality, or even your topic show in the next. They also listen to a podcast by Two Hot Takes. So that's a very popular podcast to listen to with our audience. And then the Joe Rogan Experience, which that's the number one Spotify podcast in the world. Still, our listeners in the locations that we stream to, our podcast listeners still love Joe. And then the Unapologetically Rich Show with Shamina Taylor. So this is also a popular podcast. I haven't listened to that one yet, but I will plan on doing it before the end of this year to see if I can get jewels of wisdom and some tips and strategies from Shamina. So shout out to Shamina. And then last but not least, a podcast by the name of Where Should We Begin with Esther Perel is also very popular with our listeners and audience. So these are the top 5 podcasts who are competing for listeners with us under the Smart Financial Jewels podcast. And so this is analysis in really looking at the marketplace and looking at your competition in the market. For those who are podcasters, I would highly recommend streaming your podcast on Spotify for creators, and literally being able to also comb through this data at the end of the year so you can see how you stack up between the competition, and also for yourself to also get strategies and also get gems of how to improve your podcast for the next year. And so that's a financial jewel of wisdom to look into. And then finally, as we get ready to close, it says that we were a 2025 rising star, which means this year our show's growth outpaced 93% of other shows. We were also a 2025 most shared show, which we received more shares than 80% of other shows. I repeat, the Smart Financial Jewels podcast received more shares than 80% of other shows. And then we average a rating of higher than 75% of other shows. So that's not low tier. That's on the way to being top shelf, top of the line, knowing that we just started the podcast, knowing that we're just getting started with the movement of the Smart Financial Jewels podcast. And so in closing, what are you doing? How are you benefiting from this podcast? How are you inspired each and every week, each and every season that you are tuning in with us in order to get your finances in order. For one, to have a financial freedom plan. For two, so that you too can travel the world and you too can follow your dreams and live a purpose driven life, whether you're a single, whether you are a divorcee, whether you are a single by choice, whether you are someone who is a single mother, even, or a single father. There's still time. There's still time to get your finances in order. 30s, 40s, 50s, 20s, and up. There's still time, but you got to make a decision, you all. You got to make a decision in order to get out of debt and to live debt free. And for the couples that are there, if you're a married couple, you should already know that being in a marriage is a business. So therefore, it is two legal entities, because you both have a social security number for those who are U.S. citizens, or you both have a state ID. You're not under one ID. You are having two entities merged together as one. So therefore, your finances are a top priority to make sure that your business is running healthy, for one, running efficiently, for two, and is living up to the plan of your marriage, of your relationship, to go the distance, which means that you need to be having future planning, life planning, estate planning, all of the above, in order to make sure that your finances are an asset to you versus a liability to your spouse or your partner. I'm going to repeat that again for the married couples out there, for those who are in a relationship. Your finances should not be a liability to your partner or your spouse. They should be an asset. Because when you take two finances in a business together and you put it into the pot, you should have more of a budget in order to use that money in a beneficial way for your business to succeed and for your business to be more influential and also more marketable. So if you have debt, that's a liability. That's not an asset. If you have personal debt, that's a liability. That's not an asset. Because at the end of the day, debt equals enslavement. Debt equals slavery. If you are shackled down to debt, you cannot travel, and you cannot travel efficiently or effectively, because you will be worrying about the debt on that credit card. You will be worrying about the debt for your taxes having to be collected with any past due balances that the feds, that the IRS, for those who are in the US, are coming for. So we highly recommend this upcoming year, make a financial freedom plan. Sit down, and we have, again, attendance, we have coaches, we have toolkits, we have courses, we have this podcast that is a product and also services for coaching and consulting, financial freedom services that we offer. Sit down with one of our professionals, even myself, to go through your finances. Let's make a plan to be debt free and financial free, so that you can travel the world, that you can live a purpose driven life, and that you can accomplish the mission and the purpose that Yahuwah, the Almighty, has put inside of you. That's all I have for today, you all, for Smart Financial Jewels podcast. If you've liked this episode, definitely leave us a comment, leave us a question. We have added a new segment to this podcast this season to ask Jewelz any financial questions that you have. No question is too outlandish or too out there. We will be answering the questions on future episodes, or you may even have other content creators answer your questions, so you know that you're not alone and that you can definitely feel the effects of us coming together as a financial freedom and fire community that is looking to get out of debt so that we can live our dreams and also travel the world and live a purpose-driven, debt-free life. And so thank you all for tuning in. Click the links in our show notes. We do offer services. We offer coaching, consulting. We have toolkits for the Smart Financial Jewels listeners. So go in and literally track with any of our services and products. We will be doing sales throughout the end of this year and even some giveaways. And so stay locked in with us and stay connected. And we will see you all next episode. So until the next time, we see you on the next episode. Stay hydrated, stay safe, shine bright, and we'll see you as you finish this race. Peace.